Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners and welcome you all here tonight. We are going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Charlie Evans of Wendell Elementary School. If you can come up here, Charlie. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Charlie Evans is a 5th grade student at Wendell Elementary School. Charlie is a polite and respectful young man. He consistently follows school expectations and works very hard on his academic tasks. He is supportive and helpful to younger students and serves as a role model to our little eagles at Wendell Elementary School. We are so lucky to have him setting such a wonderful example for everyone here at Wendell Elementary School. My goodness, this is very high praise. That's from your principal. I have given Charlie a challenge coin to commemorate this evening, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So rise.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Charlie. Our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to hear from Pastor Chris Hilliard of Wendell Baptist Church. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to pray for you. Just one announcement. We have a blood drive this Saturday from 8:30 to 12:30 at the church. I just looked. There's 6 spots left for you to sign up. Just go to redcrossblood.org, and you can sign up for that. And the need is huge. We just saw this week WRAL reporting that some local hospitals were running out, so we could use as many people as possible for that.
I saw that as well, so thank you all for doing that.
And I will not be praying on behalf of my Georgia Bulldogs, but I will hope the stars align and they pull out the win tonight. So.
I actually noticed the shirt was going to ask you.
Thank you, yes, absolutely.
So, go Dogs.
Let's pray. Lord God, thank you for the day that you have given to us as a gift, and we pray that we have honored you in it and all that we've said and done. And as we come to the end of the day, we pray that we finish it well. And I pray for this meeting. I pray for each and every individual here that you will just guide them and give them the wisdom they need as they discuss very important things. We live in a wonderful state, and this is just a tremendous community, and you have blessed in so many ways with the diversity and the opportunities. And so we pray for continued guidance for each and every one. For those who are in leadership positions, but also those who are citizens here who have a voice and are involved. And we thank you for the many volunteers and the many individuals who step up to help out and the many businesses that provide the opportunities that we have here as well. And so we just pray, God, that your hand is in all of this, that when we look back, we realize we did not walk alone, that you gave us wisdom that's beyond our years, our experience, that guides us in the things that we have to decide on. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnaski?
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
And Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
We have no one signed up for public comment tonight. The procedure's the same. You can come in person and sign up if you come before the meeting for our regular public comment, and you can also submit comments to the town clerk on the Friday before our meeting. So if you have something you want to say to the board, I urge you to come or send that information in, please. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnaski?
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
All right. Move to section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. The first is item 4A, the recognition of Wendell Elementary School teacher Alex Dominguez. Mr. Dominguez, if you can come up to the podium. I know you're not a big public speaker, but I can't embarrass you sufficiently if you're not up here right in front of everybody. Thank you. We received from Principal Jack Zelmer these comments about Mr. Dominguez. Mr. Dominguez is our EBS 2 teacher who provides emotional and behavioral support to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. No matter how challenging the circumstances, Mr. Dominguez is always willing to help. He's a team player who has built strong relationships with his students and colleagues. He is one of our, and it's in quotes, irreplaceables. At Wendell Elementary appreciates everything that he does. That is very high praise from your principal. So, and we just wanted to have you here and thank you tonight for everything you do for our kids and families in Wendell. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the recognition. I've been teaching for quite a few years, and when I first came to Wendell Elementary, great community, great people, and the administrators and the staff that I work with and the children are amazing people. So I appreciate it, and
Thank
hope
you.
to do a couple more years.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Our next item, item 4B, is the introduction of new administration employees, Greg Kipiego and Matt Garner.
Thank you, Mayor and Board of Commissioners. It's my privilege to introduce two gentlemen who have started with the town in the past month. The first is Gregory Kipiego. He joins in the role of IT specialist, and he comes to us from a similar position with the city of Fayetteville, and as well as several private sector IT positions in the past. He has a degree to do this form of work, which makes him eminently more qualified to help on your IT issues than me. Gregory started 3 weeks and a business day ago. So, Gregory, if you'd like to come up right behind me, of course.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to work for the town. Looking forward to greater things in the future.
We are so happy to have you. Anyone who's been watching our meetings lately knows that we've really been struggling with IT. So now you've had 3 weeks and it's on. I'm sorry. 3 weeks and 1 day. So, but we're happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it must have known he was coming because it started working as soon as the offer was.
I know, he's going to make us all look like a bunch of, like we've lied, but that's okay.
The second person I'd like to introduce tonight is our Economic Development Specialist, a first position of that kind. Matt Garner joins us the role in the town of Economic Development Specialist. He hailed from the city of St. Mary's, Georgia, which is just north of Jacksonville on I-95, where he served as a position of a Main Street manager and worked previously in Industrial Development Authority, as well as Chick-fil-A for quite a number of years. He has a degree in business administration, and Matt's on his second day today, so he's still learning where everything is, but he's hit the ground running, and I look forward to working with him. Matt?
Yes, I wanted to also say thank you for giving me the opportunity to work here. I look forward to hopefully leaving my mark on the town and helping it reach its potential, and only because it's this Monday, I will contradict the pastor and say Roll Tide. So.
I was just getting ready to say you were from Georgia. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I went to the University of Alabama for 2 years.
Okay. Oh, gosh. All right. Roll Tide. We'll get everybody in. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Item 4C is a proclamation proclaiming Dr. Martin Luther King Week. I'm going to read that for y'all. It says, Town of Wendell, North Carolina, proclaiming Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Week. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to the American proposition that we have achieved and can continue to achieve nonviolent social change, and whereas Dr. King's life and message influenced this nation to integrate peacefully, urging everyone to dedicate themselves to the principle of justice and equality for all, and whereas Dr. King was a great orator and a leader whose eloquent messages influenced his country to integrate peacefully and resulted in the passing and signing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And whereas Dr. King received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 for his constant adherence to the principles of nonviolence in the face of frequent threats, And whereas Dr. King admonished us that it is far better to love than to hate, to seek justice rather than revenge, and to refrain from acts of violence and not condone those who engage in it or profess hatred for any people, group, or race. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, I, Virginia Gray, Mayor of the Town of Wendell, do hereby proclaim the week of January 17th, 2022 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Week, and urge our citizens to rededicate themselves to the principle of justice and equality for all. Duly proclaimed this, the 10th day of January, 2022, and it's signed by me. So, thank you. All right, we'll move into section 5 now, our public hearings. Those who wish to participate in our public hearings on the agenda can do that by coming in person of the night of the meeting, or they can submit comments in writing, just like our regular public comment. The public can submit their comments to the town clerk via email and provide their name, address, and agenda item number. Copies of that information is distributed to the board prior to the meeting. You have the length of 5 minutes now instead of 3 in our regular public comments. Again, I urge you to participate if you have something that you'd like us to hear. So, our first one tonight is item 5A, an evidentiary hearing on special use permit request by Brian Richards of Urban Design Partners to allow townhomes at 0 and 3030 Wendell Boulevard, PIN numbers 1784326835 and 1784427636. We're going to hear from Planning Director Brian Coates. Actually, first, let's hear from the town attorney and go through the, since this is a quasi-judicial hearing, the rules.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Commissioners, this, as you know, is an evidentiary hearing, unlike a legislative hearing, which is typical for rezoning matters where you have discretion. With an evidentiary hearing or a fact-finding hearing, the decision is based on the evidence presented here tonight. Witnesses are sworn. There's an opportunity for cross-examination and questions of those witnesses. And the rules provide that if the criteria in the ordinance are met, then the permit should be allowed. You go through each one of the criteria set forth in the ordinance. The evidence is required to be competent, material, and substantial, and matters on which expert testimony would be required in court. Similar rules apply. Things like valuation, traffic, engineering expertise. Lay people can't testify about that. It would require an expert with the credentials to give that kind of testimony. So if there are no questions, those are the ground rules for this type of hearing, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Are any questions for the town attorney? All right, we'll have the town clerk provide the oath for anyone wishing to present testimony. This is for item 5A.
Does anybody would like to be sworn in? All right. If y'all could just raise your right hand. You're welcome to touch the Bible if you want, or if not. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor and board members.
Good evening.
The first item before you is the evidentiary hearing on a special use request by Brian Richards of Urban Design Partners to allow for townhomes at 0 and 3030 Wendell Boulevard. Mr. Richards has requested a special use to allow for 81 townhomes to be constructed on those parcels that are identified. The town of Wendell UDO requires a special use permit be granted for multifamily dwellings if they're not part of a conditional rezoning district. If the special use permit is approved, the preliminary development plans and construction drawings would still need to go through and be approved by the technical review committee of the town. Location, it's the west side of Wendell Boulevard, just north of Industrial Drive, with those pins that have been identified. The current zoning is corridor mixed use, which allows for a mix of commercial and housing options. The area of request is roughly 16.64 acres. The land is in the town's ETJ. The annexation request has been submitted and is your next public hearing. Current land use vacant agricultural. Proposed land use is a townhome community. Current property is the Wendell LaRue LLC, and the applicant, as I've mentioned, is Brian Richards of Urban Design Partners. Project setting, surrounding districts and land uses. To the north is commercial institutional, variety of zoning, CMX, manufacturing and industrial. To the south is R3 in manufacturing and industrial as well. To the east is CMX. There's some vacant and residential parcels. And then to the west is agricultural and residential and zoning of RA. Here's a site map of the project. The surrounding land uses are varied. Adjacent to the western side is M&I with some commercial land use classification. There is a daycare north of the site which has access off Lyles Dean Road. It's zone corridor mixed use. There's some parcels along Wendell Boulevard that serve as fire station, auto repair, and a car wash. There's some adjacent parcels that are residential and agricultural as well. And on September 21st, 2021, the Board of Commissioners approved the purchase of approximately 3.9 acres located at 2970 to 3030 Wendell Boulevard for a future police station to be built between the proposed townhomes and Wendell Boulevard, this general area here next to the fire station. Current zoning district is corridor mixed use. Corridor mixed use is coded to provide pedestrian-scaled, higher density residential and neighborhood-serving commercial activities along an existing mixed-use corridor. Developments in this district should encourage pedestrian use through connections to adjacent neighborhoods and construction of mixed use. Depending on the presence of on-street parking, buildings may be set close to the street and may be larger in form. UDO requires a reduced site plan for special use permits, and the applicant has provided the required site plan information. The lot dimensions for townhomes in the UDO are referenced below. Lot width of 16 feet, front setback of 0, side setback between buildings is 5 to 10 feet, rear setback is 0, and rear setback from an alley is 15 feet. The proposed townhomes will have a mix of alley and front-loading housing units. The UDO states that the vehicular access to a garage or off-street parking is not permitted on the front of a townhome, but according to General Statute 160A 381, adopted in 2015, the town cannot regulate building design elements on single-family homes, which is what townhomes are classified in the building code. State considers townhomes to be single-family and building design elements, including the location of the garages. Planning staff has met with the attorney, and a UDO text amendment will be coming forward in the future to have the town of Wendell UDO be in compliance with state law. The building elevations of front and alley-loaded townhomes are allowed. Overall site plan. You can see here, access would be off of Wendell Boulevard. It would connect to existing Church Street. The western part of the property, there's a stream. They're not proposing to cross that stream. So it's providing quite a bit of buffer to the western area. They're also providing buffers to the properties to the south. You can see here's the alley. And then there's a commercial alley here. The parcels that you see along fronting Wendell Boulevard and this entrance would be the 3.9 acres for a future police station. Parking, section 10.4 of the UDO requires 2 parking spaces per residential unit. For the 81 townhomes, 162 spaces are required. The applicant is showing 171 in this reduced site plan. 9 of those are at the amenity area that they have planned. Gravity sewer and manholes currently exist on the property. Water lines are located adjacent. They would connect to utilities, and that's therefore need to require annexation. Buffering, the applicant is providing a 20-foot type B buffer along the southern boundary where the project abuts the R3 zoning district. The applicant will use existing vegetation along the western side of the property that abuts the rural agricultural zoning district. The applicant will use existing vegetation that meet buffer requirements wherever possible. Open space, UDO requires 1,000 square feet of open space per townhome. They're required to provide 1.86 acres. They're actually showing roughly 6.65 acres of open space. For stormwater management, they are showing a stormwater pond on site. If the special use permit is granted, the preliminary plans and construction drawings will require review by Wake County for conformity with the town's stormwater regulations. While the reduced site plan does show a stormwater device, it could vary a little bit when they actually go through construction drawing approval. Streets and alleys, local streets is 52-foot right-of-way with curb, gutter, sidewalk, street trees. They're town maintained. They're proposing those. The alleys that they're showing meet our residential alley and commercial alley requirements, and they'll be maintained by an HOA, but they still have to meet town standards, even though we don't maintain them. TIA, the original TIA traffic counts were collected for an 84-unit multifamily development plan in April of 2019. They were updated in 2020. They did take into account the nearby Wendell Crossing development, and the peak morning trips were 40, peak afternoon trips were 51, did not trigger any TIA improvements. And for reference case history, a special use permit was granted in February of 2020 for a 2-story, 84-unit apartment complex at this same address. At that time, the entrance at Church Street shall serve solely as an emergency ingress-egress regarding vehicular traffic, and direct access to Wendell Boulevard would be provided. SUP 1902 will be rescinded if the SUP for SU 2104 is adopted. I can answer any questions you have. I know the applicant is here as well.
Yeah, we'll let the applicant have some time in a minute. Are there any questions from the board for? Okay.
Question, Brian. Just regarding the open.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Just regarding the open space here on this, how much of the open space is non-wetland space? Do we know that answer? I was just curious on that.
I don't. I know there's a stream that cuts through the middle of the western side. There is developable land on the western side, on the other side of the stream. They're not proposing to cross the stream. Okay. And then they're proposing a dog park and a playground for like active recreation. And that's on the eastern side where the units are. Okay. So a good chunk of it is out of the floodplain. I don't have a percent, but there's a mixture.
Commissioner Joyner, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. So, Brian, on the south side, I guess closest to the residential Main Street, so the residential main, those homes that back up to the other residential units don't actually back up, they would face, the front of that unit would be there?
Give me 1 second. Yeah, so the front of the units will be here along the main road in and out of the site, and then the alley, they'll have alley access both sides of this street. The front loaded will be on the exterior of the site.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board?
One more, and then on the, this has been discussed in the past with this, on that Church Street side, what is used to limit that to emergency access only?
So this proposal is full access.
Okay. I'm sorry, I did not say about
Previous plans showed emergency vehicle access only, and the plans never went through TRC, so I don't think they were fully developed that I'm aware of.
So this is just to be road access off Church Street then? Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, let's hear from the applicant.
Good evening. And just to respond to, my name is Brian Richards with Urban Design Partners.
Thank you.
Respond to your question on the open space. Truly, there's not much in the way of wetlands on the site. Really, it is just the stream and stream buffer that would be non-developable, which is identified there. So the majority of that would be developable open space. From that standpoint. In an effort to not rehash much of what Brian already covered, I'll just touch on a few items. representing, and just to follow up, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer some. We also have Kevin Dean with Traffic, the TIA is here, as well as representatives from the developer group with DRB. So I guess just to review in general, it's a CMX zoning, which allows for townhomes through special use permit application. Per the future land use plan, this identified townhomes is identified as a compatible use and actually sets up quite well from a transition from the higher intensity commercial Wendell Boulevard to the single family uses that are there. As part of this proposal, we will also be insisting in recombining the lots that will help to create the police lot that is in contracts with the town. That'll be part of this to create a more efficient lot for both projects. Another element to go on, is there a way to go back to your elevations? Yeah. Which way do I go? Go for it. So the applicant just would like to run through some of the commitments from an architectural standpoint, from a quality product. It just a long history with DRB, who has done a lot of projects here in Wendell already. In terms of some of the architectural commitments they're looking to do that will be part of this project. All units with street-facing garages will be decorative garage features with windows or carousels adornments. There will be no vinyl siding on the project other than some of the trims for windows and fascias, which is fairly industry standard. There will be vertical and horizontal roof line and building changes, so it will not be a flat front. So there'll be some variety in that with roof breaks, and there will be masonry accent points with water tables along the street-facing sides and the frontages of the units with stone and or brick. The main siding materials will be hardy plank or cement board siding with some horizontal board and batten and shake features as well into that display. And end units will also have windows on all the end units as facing streets. Site amenities, the client is proposing to do dog park and playground, contingent on that complying with water allocation. Okay, but that is the intent. I think everybody agrees that would be the best plan forward. But aside from that, we're really just open here for any questions you may have about the project, anything we can respond. We did do an updated TIA for the project with this year, updated that, and so we can speak to that if there's any questions on that. Really not much in the way it changes. And then in terms of access, we are open to discussing that. Really part of this was in conjunction with what they wanted with the police station is our understanding.
Okay.
Happy to take any questions.
Can you give this to the town clerk so
Yeah.
she can add those conditions?
Absolutely.
I don't see any right now, but I'm sure we'll get back
Okay,
to you.
no problem.
So is there anyone who'd like to speak that was sworn in earlier for or against the project? From the audience, just a quick reminder, we opened a public hearing, so you have 5 minutes. You can watch the...
Hey, can you go back to your site plan? That showed the stormwater retention. My name's Tyler Askew. I stay at 839 Industrial Drive. And I was curious, first question we had, it looks like this retention area, this pond area here, little stormwater catch area, the natural terrain, natural tree line comes right through here where my mouse is at and curves right through here, about dead center of where that's at. Is it possible, and this will be a question more for him, that this be moved over and just keep that natural layout, you know, for wildlife and just as a natural screen between these two properties, just shift this over a little bit? It looks like there's plenty of area right here to do that, and there's nothing impeding it there. That's our big concern there, just moving this so that tree line can stay intact and not have to be, looks like about half of it will be taken up the way you have it here, shift it this way and it can stay tree line. Also, right here's the main entrance going into that property, and we would like that to stay the main entrance, and Church Street still be used as emergency for fire department, EMS, any type of emergency access. due to how narrow it is and the homes that are on that currently, an industrial drive gets backed up over here daily. It's hard to get in, hard to get out. We have a trucking business, and it's hard to swing these turns with everybody trying to get out. It's going to be even harder for us, along with the other trucks coming from businesses that are along this road as well, and homeowners that are here trying to get in and out. It'd be nice to have them going out their way, and us continue to have our exit and entry point. Other than that, appropriate signage would be great, you know, showing where the main entrance is at, showing where the development's at, for construction vehicles, for homeowners that are in here. We have a lot of traffic going down this road that goes, and they get lost at the back of our farm trying to find Wendell Falls, of all places. Their GPS turns them too early, and they come down there. I've pulled people out of the mud. I've had people take down fences and go through the woods trying to find Wendell Falls. They want to find it that bad. That's the main things we got. Church Street was a big thing for us. Stormwater retention pond, shifting it up to keep that natural tree line, so we have a natural little boundary there. Let's see. And the signage. And that's about all that we have right now. Other than that, the development right here looks fine. It's shifted forward. I think what we're asking is possible, but really consider Church Street. I know last time we talked, there was a lot of opinions on widening Church Street. So that's something that everybody needs to think about too. That would take up a lot of these residents' yards. And that's been a street that's been there for a long time. And it seems to me this is wide enough that this ought to be fine here for this development to have their own entry and exit point and not have to take up Church Street and industrial. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Don't be shy.
Oh, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not.
Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Geraldine Herndon. I'm at 230 Church Street in Wendell. And on behalf of my mom here, Geraldine Herndon, who is roughly about 85 years old and one of the oldest residents in the area. We've been here for over 60 years. I probably spoke about this the last time this came up. And like Brother Askew talking about, development looks pretty nice, okay? But from your records and documents I got off your site the last time, it's probably more for the design guy, we talked about 35-foot setbacks to push that a little bit off the property line, okay? That was one of the concerns right there that we had as far as being so close over on the property line. Everybody right in our face all day long, okay? Development looks nice. Now, what Brother Askew spoke about before, access coming down in there, those of you who are new that may not have been over to my neighborhood, please come by. The street is very narrow. You can barely back out your driveway. My concern is for this lady right here, 84, 85 years old almost, trying to get in and out of her driveway with possibility of extended traffic coming in and out of this development. You say you got new land you just purchased for future police site, so that direct access right off Wendell Boulevard seems more appropriate to go right down in here to the development, as opposed to trying to run traffic down Church Street, which, as it's been noted, the last time this came up, was set up as an emergency situation, emergency access if needed, entry and exit by emergency vehicles. Nothing's changed. It's been a few years, nothing's changed. Same road, everything's the same. So any of you that's new, if you haven't visited, please come over. You're gonna go out there, okay, anyway. You're gonna run my deal away. I invited y'all the last time, come have a glass of lemonade. I ain't seen nobody yet. I've been squeezing lemons ever since. But seriously, folks, it's not a bad development. I'm like Brother Askew, it's not a bad deal. Just trying to run all that traffic, and like he say, they run traffic, I hear him every morning cranking up, because I'm up watching the news. I said, go Askew, he headed out for his run. And like he say, you trying to get out of that drive, and you trying to filter additional cars up Church Street, that's going to be a little tough. It's going to make it hard for us that's been living here over 60 years. They just want, like I say, I just want her to live comfortably the rest of her days. She's 84 years old. To have to deal with a lot of differences coming in and out that street would be tough. Development's not bad. As I say, one of the biggest things like Brother Askew talked about, If we can move that back a little bit. You got it in your docs from the last time, even though I know this is a different deal. He said 20-foot setbacks. Well, hey, you wrote down, you agreed to 35-foot setbacks the last time. Yeah, it's in there. I printed, I watched it, read it all today. It's right there. I know this is a different deal, but consider us a little bit. We've paid taxes and been here a long time, like I say, 60 years. These are little things, guys. Wendell's all about development and growth. You can ride around. I see it every day, going in and out Wendell Falls. I've been going over through Zebulon, the back way, whole around town. It's a lot of new development, and that's a good thing. Not bad at all. But please give us a little more consideration, as I say. Talk about expert opinion. I know, I've been living there for close to 60 years. It's a tight street. Come visit us. Come see us. Mom, you got anything you want to say? Okay. Like I say, she's 84 years old, still kicking. And I want it so hard for her trying to get out her driveway, trying to get to church, whatever. Cars steady flowing up and down there. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful evening. Be blessed.
Thank you.
I got a dog in the fight. Go Bama, go Georgia.
Next. Anyone else? I think I saw a few others, maybe. Okay. Maybe the applicant would like to speak again?
Surely. So I'll try to track all these. Please tell me if I missed one. But in terms of the stormwater management pond and the trees, the intent, again, you know, a lot of things happen when you get into actually building the stuff, but the intent is actually for, let me point on this thing, sorry. In here, for that buffer to actually be accomplished with the existing trees. So to maintain as much of that as possible. We can certainly evaluate scooting the stormwater pond up a little bit. Just to give you one sense though, when you do that, I mean, you want a certain width with that stormwater management pond, the way it has to be built to get it. So as you get it skinnier, it really doesn't hold, and then it actually has to get bigger. So there's a little bit of a push and pull of that, but certainly that's something we can look at doing, is push that up. We don't really have any reason not to, as long as it can fit and still hold the volume that we need to do to meet Wake County requirements. So that's, but again, and even with this, I think even this note, I believe even says it, is on the landscape plan, it says that we're going to try to do some of that with existing tree preservation.
Which one did you push it up? A little up, because it's taking about half the trees down in that little pie-shaped corner, little triangle.
Kind of in here. Yeah, and keep in mind that the size of this right now is conceptual to some extent. You know, when we get into the final design docs, that thing may actually shrink. It's possible to get bigger, but I don't anticipate that. It may even be reduced a little bit. But it certainly, we can do everything we can to scoot it up.
Just to keep that natural.
No, totally understand. So, just so you know, I'm a landscape architect by trade, so if I can save some trees, I'll save some trees, don't worry. And so, in terms of, you had one other comment, I apologize, I forgot what it was. Oh, the emergency access. So that's, you know, per kind of typical requirements, we're kind of required to stub to adjacent properties. That's an adjacent right-of-way. I know that there's a past history on this. We were not involved in that previous project, but we're aware of it. So I think we're open for discussion. You know, we're kind of doing what is typically a requirement to connect to an existing right-of-way like that, to provide that connectivity. From a general planning standpoint, that's good practice, but I understand the concerns. So, you know, more ways in and out is usually a good thing, but I certainly understand that. And certainly, we can have Kevin come up maybe and speak to some of the recent analysis he's done that, if that's valuable, on just traffic impacts. In terms of the setbacks, we're actually, I guess it depends on what you want to step back from, but there's no buildings within probably 50 feet of the property line there. So we're going to be much more than 35 feet. And the roadway, the right-of-way of the roadway, which that doesn't include the sidewalk and the street trees, is probably 35 feet or more away. So from a scale, we're well beyond 35-foot setback. Okay. Anything else?
Construction signage. I think that was brought up as well. I tried to jot them all down to give
We can
jog your
certainly
memory.
do. Yeah, we'll all the construction sizes you want, they're shaking their head, no problem.
I just wanted to make sure we covered everything that was mentioned.
We will, when we get to that point, we'll find out exactly which ones are critical, and we'll figure out how to get them in.
And neighborhood signage as
Yep,
well, which
yep.
I assume it would be
Yep.
your advantage.
Yeah,
to
and the
provide
intent of that would be, probably be pushed up towards Wendell as
at
well.
Wendell Boulevard.
Yeah,
Okay,
to be identified so much as the main entry.
okay.
And mark all the trees, like when you say keeping the natural, what you want to keep natural, make sure they're marked well.
Oh.
That's a lot of work, about 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, yep, absolutely. There'll be tree protection fencing and all that kind of stuff when we do that stuff.
Does anyone else from the applicant wish to be heard? Mr. Herndon, I think, has a quick
sir.
question.
We just, come on, we just want to be clear. Going down into the new development.
Yeah, Mr. Herndon, can you come up to the?
Yeah, come on up,
we can
come
hear
on
you.
up.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, we just want to be
You
clear.
get to have this time.
Yeah, we just want to be clear, making sure the main access is coming off Wendell
Yes.
Boulevard,
Yeah,
going down into the division.
absolutely.
That's what I thought I read on
Yeah.
the site, and that's
Yeah, and that's
concerned.
the intent, and
And-
any signage for that, and
Yeah,
I would imagine sales signage would want to be up there, all that kind of stuff during construction even.
Correct.
All that would be the case.
and that's one of the biggest concerns, just where the main access is. I understand, making a second access point,
Yeah.
but even these guys back, and I know that you didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they realized.
Yeah.
We had, I think, Brother Askew, we had pictures, you can see it. It's a very narrow street.
No, totally.
And they talked about no improvement or widening, but like you said, then you're gonna take up more of the yard anyway.
Yep.
So why can that continue? Oh, Lord Jesus, there you go.
Yeah, so improvement
If
and widening
God and good,
of that would
can I
not
hand
be
that to
that's a
you?
question for,
If God and good. Trying to get out in there. Can we have, go on that back. I think y'all got that from the last time, correct? Okay, y'all
We
passed
have,
it through?
and I've been out there. I just didn't see you.
You have.
and I can tell you, and
I'm
again, I
gonna
don't.
defend myself a little bit too. I was here the night that you made that
Oh,
comment.
my bad.
I was sitting out there and not up
Give
here.
it, if you want to give it to the clerk, she can make sure everybody sees it.
Trying to make sure y'all see this stuff happening. Before to get these guys down the street, appreciate you.
I did stop by. You
Okay,
actually weren't there
very
that
good,
day.
very
I do
good.
Meals on Wheels, Miss Inez on the corner, so.
There you go.
Anyway.
She's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But that was just probably the biggest thing for her, guys. Not have to navigate and deal with a lot of traffic. Well, understand, like I say, emergency entrance.
And it may be worthwhile maybe have Kevin come up and speak about
Sure.
kind of his analysis of like how many trips he's determined that would actually occur through that.
That'd be great.
They've actually run, I think, this study maybe 3 times now over the
Okay.
years, so it's pretty thorough.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Kevin Dean with Kinley Horn, 300 South Main Street in Holly Springs. We did the traffic assessment for this. We did the traffic assessment for the previous iteration, and that time it was being considered for 84 units with the access onto Wendell Boulevard. As has been noted, we weren't recommending any improvements because of the low trip generation of that project. For reference, when we do trip generation for a project, it's the town and NCDOT standard to use the ITE trip generation manual. And based on that, something around 84 units would generate only 40 total trips in the morning peak hour, so one single peak hour in the morning and 51 in the afternoon. So, like has been discussed, with the main access being on Wendell Boulevard, even if the access onto Church Street were granted for all vehicles, the number of cars we'd expect in any hour would be minimal. So, it remains my professional opinion that this site won't cause undue traffic congestion, regardless of what the access scenario looks like. So,
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Dean, can you speak from a design perspective as to like, so the new traffic theoretically is coming out of the new, townhomes, but can you speak to the design element and where that traffic should naturally go?
I'm guessing they're going to want to go north towards Raleigh, and so most of that traffic is going to be making a left. So, excuse me. So I think with traffic going in and out to and from the north, even if that access was a full access to Church Street, there's not a ton of incentive for traffic to work through Church Street to get to Industrial just to take a left back on Wendell Boulevard when they have a primary access directly to Wendell Boulevard.
This is Madam Mayor, just for a comment. I remember the emergency access last time, and it was a concession, in trying to bring things up. I feel like I'm speaking at a good moment because I think Tyler is close to happy, or as happy as Tyler's gonna get with this. And I think that y'all made some movement there. I also think that we figured out the right-of-way was a little bit bigger. I just wanna make a case for, opening that access and not putting an emergency access there, and I'll tell you why. One, with the larger, wider road being right in front of their townhomes, I would imagine that they take the natural road out and turn left or right. I don't see them going through Church Street. That's not really my concern. My concern is, if we were to close Church Street, we essentially create, one, a public road that's not accessible to the public, but two cul-de-sacs. So if I don't want to, for instance, make it all the way down to Tyler's farm to do my misdeeds in a vehicle or I stop right here and I back my car in. Same thing with neighborhood kids from the townhomes. It creates in my opinion, space that nothing good can happen because nothing good can come or go from it. I don't believe that the natural tendency of folks is going to be to go through a narrow street and then try to push back through a narrower neighborhood when they have that big one there. I think it provides, a little bit more access for what will be that larger corridor. I don't know where everyone else is on that. I certainly remember, and I voted for it last time for it to be an emergency access. I see it more as the area develops as a hindrance than it is a help. And certainly, I guess the other piece I would say is that you can always put a barricade up. You can't always take one down. You can't always make the street be paved up to the spec. You can always go back in and do something else later. But that would just be, I appreciate the conversation that was had here, and I just wanted to plug that piece in for the conversation on whether or not that should be, I know it's not proposed to be closed, but knowing that we did it in the past, I always wanted to, I voted that time, and the more I thought about it, I don't want folks backing up to your mom's house while she's there, sitting in a cul-de-sac that, it seems like more trouble than it's worth.
That's your opinion, sir. Like I say, I've been here for 60 years. Now, with this gentleman saying his professional opinion, but Tyler and I both can tell you, just as soon as these folks realize that, okay, that's the main loop, correct. You find your shortcut, you're going, oh, I'm going to go out this way, I'm late for work. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all come to the podium, come to the podium. That's okay.
The things he did last time we did this was on a holiday too, everybody was at home, just to let y'all know that.
Yeah.
Do I need to walk up there and give
You can
this
give it
somebody?
to the town clerk.
All right, in yellow, for all the homes on that road, you're showing that's industrial. There are paths of least resistance, other roads over here where new developments are. They take industrial because the traffic's so bad, they can't get out that way. So there's 15 cars here, 10 cars over here, where are you gonna go? You gotta think about that.
Path of least resistance.
If that's through that neighborhood, take a left and jam that up more, that's what you're gonna do. When you should just have your own section. If they had to put some kind of traffic control measure there to get you in and out, that's what you gotta do. Leave this other road alone that everybody else is having to use to get out, and let them go in and out their own entrance. Path of least resistance, that's human nature. Here's another one with the tree line I wanted to show y'all, just what we're proposing. But that was key to us, is, I get what you're saying. You think it's gonna be just a handful of cars? No. In and out, in and out, in and out. I watch it every day. Run to the store, come home. Run to the store, come home. It's congested, in and out. Have you tried to get in Wendell at 6 o'clock in the evening? It is a nightmare. Have you tried to leave Food Line? It's the same thing going through there. Give them their spot to get in and out. Let us have ours. Leave it as a controlled area where emergency vehicles, if something catches on fire, they can get in there, take care of it, and get out. And then that way everybody stays separate. And as far as people backing up into your house, it's kind of old school around that neighborhood. We kind of police our own neighborhoods. Everybody kind of knows the families, knows what's going on. There's really no trouble. As it is. I see trouble if you open that access up and everybody gets to kind of walk through and drive through. I see trouble starting then.
my last comment, and I appreciate you, Mr. Joyner, to the commissioners. Like Tyler's pointing out, you guys talked about putting a breakable gate there in case emergency vehicles had to come down through there. We understood that. Like I said, if you had a major catastrophe to happen over in there, then you need a few more access points. But just like he stated, path of least resistance. If I know I can cut up through here every morning and try to get out to the road and get up when there falls or get up to Raleigh, I'm coming out through that neighborhood. It's just what's gonna happen.
I'm just trying to make sure, I want to make sure I understand. So the thought process is by opening this up, that people from the new Wendell crossings will go below the cemetery, around, over, across Church Street, and then into the new neighborhood to go out, or go up industrial?
What I'm telling you, there's two roads running parallel as you pass. Keep them parallel and not connected. That way, our side can get out our way, and in our way, they can do their thing. Keeps everybody safe.
Keep everybody flowing.
Get backlogged.
Like I say, you open that up full.
How many times you go to Raleigh, little shortcut, you cut through a neighborhood, do something, get around a stoplight, get around something, just an area. Everybody does it. And that's the same that's gonna happen there.
Exactly.
Instead of having a problem on that side, you're gonna put it on our side.
I guess my question is, how do you get a shortcut out of two parallel lines?
If everybody wants to leave out of their access point, and they have two options, 30 people going to work in the morning on their side, and say there's 20 on our side getting out. Well, the 10 other people who get up in the morning and want to get out say, oh, hell, I'm gonna go to the other side. They're gonna jump on our side, cut to the back way. I know it's quicker, I cut to the back way, sneak through and go that way.
They're doing that now. Like you say, it's coming from the crossing. They come around. I see people cut down through Todd Hill to cut up instead of go up Academy. I see it all the time.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, if you guys can continue with that breakable gate for emergency access only, that really makes us happy. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from the applicant. If the applicant has anything they'd like to add.
I mean, unless there's any questions we can answer.
Okay. All right, are there any questions from the board? All right, town staff, anything?
Planning staff has no additional comments at this time.
All right, we'll close the public hearing. Michelle's pleasure.
Are you looking for a motion?
Looking for whatever how y'all want to proceed.
I'll just make a comment, if I can, Madam Mayor. In listening, I guess maybe the conversation breaks down to who would use that cut through. Is it folks from industrial side cutting through to the new road, or the new road cutting over to industrial?
Don't put it there, eliminate both of them.
I'm of the opinion that we're probably gonna have more issues with speeding, on either road being treated as a drag strip than we will with cut-throughs. But, you know, if I'm in a new neighborhood, I'm not cutting through to the whole side.
All right, let's be quiet.
Have you been to the road? How about drag?
Your time's up, Mr. Askew. I'm sorry. We can't have this back and forth. Let's hear from the commissioners.
So that's and that's an enforcement rabbit hole that, we can go down, but, I think we all agree that the development is a nice development. You've got, rear loads in the middle, so you've got, plenty of space in between existing and, construction. From a buffer standpoint, from a quality, from a material, standpoint, I think the project is a nice project. Police station's going in, at some point, there's your natural enforcement there at some point with the police station right there. And again, I understand what you're saying from what was talked about before. But access is access in my mind.
Anyone else? Anything, comments?
Yeah, I have a quick one.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Part of this is going to kind of be that I'm the new guy, and this is the first time I've gone through this process, specifically of a special use permit evidentiary hearing. I'll also supplement that by saying that in 2020, I was here for that conversation. I was just out there in the audience instead of here. And since then, I've thought about those conversations from that meeting pretty often, and I've ridden up and down Industrial and pulled into church, and I hope I hadn't blocked any of y'all's efforts to get to work or other places you need to go, but I've been out there looking at it and thought about it a lot. And I think I want to come back, though, to this. I always like to kind of come back around to what's the question we're being asked to answer. And my basic understanding of a evidentiary hearing with a special use permit is that we're being asked to listen to the evidence that's been provided and decide whether or not the proposal meets the conditions in our UDO. And my understanding of the UDO, and something that a piece of it that I've supported as a planning board member in the past and just seems like a good idea to me, is the stub street requirement. And I know there's members of this board that have been instrumental in making that part of our UDO and supportive of it in the past. And it makes sense to have stub streets in my mind. I think connectivity is a good thing, not just for cars, but for walking. And I love that we got golf carts in Wendell and other things like that, bicycles, things that help folks get around town without having to get out on a main road. And because I've been a supporter of that policy in the past, and it's in our UDO now, I think it's a little bit hard for me to say no because that is in here, or have that be the reason that I oppose what's happening tonight. The one piece I will offer, though, is that traffic enforcement is also something that I'm really interested in and care a lot about. And as soon as y'all have got a problem, if sort of the worst case scenario, if this thing happens and worst case scenarios happen, whether it's the drag strip piece that's already been mentioned, that is a whole separate issue of what happens with traffic, or if it's cut throughs and just people using streets in ways that don't make sense. Come talk to me. I want to hear from you then too, not just tonight, but just want to provide a little bit of sort of my rationale and perspective, I think, on what I'm seeing so far. Thank you.
Anyone else on the board?
Madam Mayor, for a motion.
Yeah.
Maybe grant the special use permit for 0 and 3030 Wendell Boulevard.
All right, we have a motion to grant special use permit for 0 and 3030 Wendell Boulevard. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Could you add with the conditions that the applicant proposed?
With the conditions that the applicant proposed.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Coates. All right, is there any discussion on the motion? All right, Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnaski?
No.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Nay.
Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
All right, so that passes 3-2. All right, item 5B is a public hearing for a contiguous annexation of approximately 15.73 acres, PIN number 178432685, located at 0 Wendell Boulevard.
Yep. The request is to hold a public hearing for the annexation petition A2111 and consider a motion to adopt the attached ordinance. This is for the parcel in the previous public hearing that's not within our city limits currently. The parcels in the frontage are already annexed. This is the 15.73 acre parcel that is not in our city limits but in our ETJ. You can see here 15.73 is highlighted in red and would be the site of the actual townhomes. The proposed annexation would require services from the town's police, public works, parks and rec departments if annexed and developed. Secondary service impacts are for other town departments like planning. Property is already served by the fire district. Water and sewer is readily available for the parcel, and I can answer any questions that you may have on the annexation.
All right, let's open the public hearing. Questions from the board? Does the applicant wish to be heard?
No.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, for a motion.
Yeah.
Move we grant the annexation petition for A21-11.
And adopt the, I'm sorry, I couldn't understand what you were saying. Can you say it again?
Move that we grant the annexation petition request, and adopt the attached ordinance.
Okay. So we have a motion to, grant the annexation petition and consider and adopt the ordinance. Is there any discussion? Well, you know what? We never closed the public hearing. So let's go back. So we kind of jumped ahead. So we'll close the public hearing. Can you give me the motion again, just to be sure we're doing things in the correct order?
Move we grant the annexation petition and adopt the attached ordinance.
Okay. So we have a motion to grant the annexation petition and adopt the attached ordinance. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right. Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnasky?
No.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Nay.
Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
Mayor, that's going to require a second reading.
Okay. Do it, I guess our next meeting. All right, our next is a public hearing to rezone approximately 32.395 acres from rural agriculture to residential 7 conditional district for the Jake May subdivision. Mr. Coates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're asking you to hold a public hearing and consider making a motion to adopt the attached ordinance. The applicant's requesting to rezone 2 parcels located near the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Jake May Drive from rural agricultural to residential 7 conditional district to create a single-family residential neighborhood. The applicant's proposal features 90 single-family homes. It's key to note 3 acres of the existing parcel at the actual intersection of Wendell Falls and Jake May will be retained by the current owner for a future non-residential use. No plans have been submitted for those 3 acres at this time.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Questions from the board? Let's hear from the applicant if they desire. Is the applicant here, like to be heard?
Yeah, Zach Anderson with Ellis Developments is here.
If you'd like to be heard, come, you may. Come on.
Do you want, because they have a PowerPoint, but they'll do their PowerPoint after we finish ours, if that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just want to make sure I give everybody their opportunity.
Okay. As the mayor had said, the request is roughly a little over 32 acres. The request, current jurisdiction's ETJ, current land use is woodlands, and there's some a natural pond on site. Proposed use is single-family residential. Property owners are Clarence Roberts and Ronnie Collins Jr. The applicant is the Strong Rock Group. Neighboring zoning is a mix near that intersection. There's neighborhood center for the townhomes getting started construction at the golf course. There's R3 for the existing neighborhood across the street, and some recently the Roberts property across the street's R7, and then there's some RA and RR for the golf course and some of the residential behind it. Subject parcels, as we said, is currently zoned RA. The request for R7 has a minimum lot size of roughly 3,500 square feet. The applicant's proposing roughly around 5,000 square foot lots on average. R7 allows for lot width of 24 feet. They're proposing 40. Lot depth of 100, which they're proposing. Front setback would be 20 feet. Side setbacks are 3, and rear setback is 25. The parcel here is outlined in red, the 2 parcels. You can see the existing pond, and then the neighboring properties as well. Site plan shows access coming off of Jake May, stubbing to neighboring properties to the north, west, and south. And then there are two small cul-de-sacs for Street D and Street B. Proposed zoning conditions by the applicant. First one is vinyl siding is not permitted. However, vinyl windows, decorative elements, and trim are permitted. Street F will exceed the 600-foot UDO requirement due to the presence of wetlands along that southern boundary. Garage doors must have windows, decorative details, or carriage-style adornments. 4 is a varied color palette shall be utilized on homes throughout the subdivision to include a minimum of 3 color families for siding and shall include varied trim, shutter, and accent colors, complementing the siding color for the whole development. The rear and side elevations of the units that are adjacent to right-of-way shall have trim around the windows. Minimum side setback shall be 3 feet in order to promote diversity in housing products. 7 will allow all units will be solely front-loaded. 8, all single-family dwellings shall have a 12-inch minimum exposed front foundation, which shall be wrapped in brick or stone veneer. And condition 9, we broke this out into a map to show what buffers are on what parcels. So the adjacent parcels will be screened as the following. The parcels that are in gold will have a 20-foot type B buffer undisturbed with a 6-foot wooden fence inside the buffer. The purple parcels will have a 10-foot type B buffer undisturbed and a 6-foot wooden fence. And then the parcel in blue will have a 10-foot type B buffer undisturbed with supplemental plantings as needed. And the applicant can go further into that. They did hold a couple neighborhood meetings on their proposal. Public utilities development of the site will require connection to city water and sewer, which is available at Wendell Falls Parkway. The applicant has requested annexation and is the next public hearing. Environmental, the applicant will need to obtain stormwater, sedimentation, erosion control permits from Wake County, as we have a contract for some of those services. The proposed development plan will need to meet the requirements of the town of Wendell UDO. The proposed plan shows the development creating 4 ponds to be used for stormwater management. The existing pond on site cannot be used, but will be staying on site to be used as open space. Buffers, as you can see, we went through that in condition 9. Open space, UDO requires roughly 1,750 square feet of open space per single-family dwelling unit. And then there's 75% of that's required open space be passive, 25% improved park, and a third needs to be considered active. The development plan of 90 lots needs to have a minimum 3.62 acres of open space. The applicants propose an 11.81, and roughly a half of that will be active. There's playgrounds and some improved park space and walking trails. Streams and wetlands, the current development plan does show the locations of streams and wetlands. No floodplains currently exist on the property. The exact wetlands impacted will be determined when construction drawings are submitted. They will need to obtain permits for any kind of stream or wetland crossing, but also any impacts to those wetlands. Transportation, UDO requires a TIA if it exceeds 100 peak trip hours or if it's 75 to 100. The proposed 90-lot development does not meet the threshold of a TIA. However, they still need to make some road improvements. Our arterial and street collector identifies Jake May as a future 3-lane undivided road. They'll need to upgrade their portion of Jake May to include that additional right-of-way, but also additional pavement, bike lanes, 6-foot sidewalks, and street trees. Their plans show those improvements to Jake May. The applicant is also providing off-street parking spaces near the mail kiosk, the pocket parks, and the playground for guests. Phasing, the current plan has 1 phase for the proposed development. Comprehensive plan labels this area as S4, the controlled growth, typically close to thoroughfares like Wendell Falls Parkway, and at key crossroad locations. This sector is where moderate intensity new development is appropriate and where the majority of the community's growth should occur. It lists in there single-family residential neighborhoods are an appropriate use. It is consistent with the comp plan. Technical Review Committee has completed their review. If this development is approved, does need to go through construction drawing review for their with the TRC. case history. The project did go before the planning board twice. In July 2021, staff and planning board had some concerns over their stub streets and their turnarounds. Planning board in July recommended denial. The applicant actually went back, fixed those plans, changed those, held a neighborhood meeting, and went back to planning board in October and got an approval of 6-2 recommendation from the planning board. Staff's comment is the development plan is consistent with the comp plan, and we're recommending approval of the conditional district rezoning. The applicant is here as well to answer any questions that you have, and they do have a PowerPoint for tonight.
Okay, well, let's start with you. Are there any questions from town staff, for town staff? Okay, we'll hear from the applicant.
Need to quit sharing this one. And my name is Matthew Hook, by the way. Zach Anderson's right back there. You guys have heard from him a bunch, but it's my turn this time.
Can you give us your address, please, for the record?
6801 Falls of Neuse Road, Raleigh.
Thank you.
And let's begin. You guys have heard most of it from Brian already. It is 2 parcels. They are vacant at this time, around 35.7 acres, currently zoned rural agricultural. It is in the town's ETJ. We are proposing water and sewer for these lots. And there is about 4.85 acres of natural wetlands. The proposed rezoning is R7 conditional use, 90 units, and we are proposing annexation into the town. The density for this development, we're proposing 2.52 dwelling units. The max allowed for the R7 conditional is 7.26, so this is significantly less. The proposed plan has been recommended for approval by staff and is in compliance with the master plan. Going on to the history a little bit, I know Zach as an engineer, someone who worked in acquisitions and now working for a developer, he has a lot of history with this project, a lot of history with this parcel, and we feel this really is the best plan to come out for this property. Existing conditions, these 2 parcels, you do see the lake there. It's mostly wooded, and there is a little bit of barren land in there. That's mostly what we're proposing for this development. We want to stay wooded. We want it to be kind of like a little natural escape. The amenities for this development, we're proposing to keep the pond, add a playground, 10-foot path and trail, sidewalks, pocket park, wetland observation deck, and you can see those on the screen here. There's a little bit of the trail. There's going to be a park. There's going to be a playground down in here. The parking spaces, the parking areas, we're proposing in this area. And we did hold a number of neighborhood meetings. The most recent one was in mid-December. Some of the concerns that came out of there, one, were the buffers. So just to reiterate, along this line, you will have 20-foot buffers. Along here, you'll have 10-foot buffers, and the buffers are going to be natural. So from the property line, it's going to be 10 or 20 feet, and then on our side will be the fence. So we're trying to accommodate the neighbors as best as we can. The stubs was another sticking point, I'll say. And in the town's transportation plan, as Brian mentioned, Jake May is proposed to be a 3-lane thoroughfare, and actually the town's plan does have it coming through this property, which is why there is a stub there. And we really worked with the neighbors as best we could to try and find something that is amenable to all parties. After that, it's just the proposed conditions again. Do you guys have any questions?
All right. Any questions from the board for the applicant?
Oh, I have one question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for verification, on the map, I'm just making sure I'm seeing it correct.
Yeah, let me
There is only, one, in and out of the neighborhood, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you. You'll have opportunity if you need it in a little bit. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak or have in favor or against the project?
John Boyette, 502 Mugo Pine Court. My wife and I own property along the south border, property line adjacent. My father owns property along the rest of the south border and about half of the western border. We know very well one of the other neighbors on the western property. I just came tonight to say that Strong Rock has been very easy to work with. They listened to us. Zach came out, walked through the woods with us, got his real nice boots dirty. And everything we threw at him, he said he wanted to make it work. Obviously, you know, we would love to see it stay in its current form, but that's just not the way Eastern Wake County is. I personally think that this is a good project. And this, you know, abutting the family farm, I think this is probably the best project that we could hope for here. We're happy with the buffers, we're happy with the fence, we're happy with the stub streets coming out, where they come out. And like I said, Strong Rock and Zach were very easy to work with, very attentive, and at least for along the southern, and I can only speak for myself and my family, but we're in favor of what they proposed and their conditions that they have proposed for the buffers and for the neighborhood. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm April Morton. I have the little skinny lot, and it backs to all the houses.
Can you give us your address?
1629 Eagle Rock Road.
Thank you.
And they have been really great working with them and talking to them, and they've returned all my calls and answered all my questions. The only thing I would like to request is maybe a little bit more buffer because the houses come right back to my house. 20 foot's not a whole lot for the wildlife, and I just love my trees all around me. So, but that's all. These guys have been great, but just a little bit more buffer would be nice. And, you know, I don't know about the traffic idea. I know when you talk about one subdivision or one group of townhouses going in, it doesn't seem like that one's going to cause problems. But if you get on the road going off Eagle Rock, because I'm the corner where the mini horses are, I'm one of the mini horse people. So on the corner, when you're getting out in the morning, unless you've got someone really nice, you're going to sit there for a while waiting to get out on the road on Eagle Rock, turning on to Wendell Falls. So one subdivision might not make a difference, but we're talking about 2 or 3 or 4. I've been coming to the meetings lately, and I know there's a whole lot proposed for the corridor there. But just a little more buffer for the animals, because I love my little deers and my possums that come up, so it would be nice. But thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, real quick. Could you mind just a point on that screen where your lot is? Just make sure I'm clear, or Brian, or somebody help me out.
Yeah,
there.
it's right.
It's a skinny one.
Okay.
It's right here.
All right. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Okay. Does the applicant have anything else to add? Any other questions from the board?
2 quick ones.
Okay.
I'm a fan of the color coded. Can you tell me what we have here on this proposed master plan, the difference in these lots? I'm assuming it's size.
Yeah, that's all it is. The blue lots are bigger, and it's just a different product type, that's all.
Okay, so you're gonna...
These are all gonna be site-built homes, 1,800 to 2,800 square foot. It's just, the lots are a little bit bigger, so maybe you can fit a bigger house on those.
Gotcha. And then, question for Ms. Coates. Can you go back to that slide, that goes through the buffers? You had a slide that was also color coded, purple, this, and okay, and Ms. Morton, I believe, is the 758 ending pin.
She is, yes.
Okay, so she's a 20-foot.
Type B buffer, and then a 6-foot wooden fence.
Undisturbed. Okay, and if I'm hearing you correctly, Ms. Morton, you like the fence, I assume. You just prefer a little more than the 20.
Yeah, all the houses, it's kind of like a straight road, straight to mine, and actually, it looks like the butt of the road actually comes to my property. And I would like, I moved to Wendell because I liked living in the country, and I like the country feel. And I don't really want to look over there and see, I just like the feel of the country, the trees. It's
What?
really pretty there.
And that's 18-foot turnout, if I'm reading that correctly?
Yes, there's a turnaround.
Okay. So theoretically, there's another 18, and then, but obviously not undisturbed, but, okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? All right, we'll close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, move.
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, move we approve the rezoning request and attach the adopt ordinance.
So we have a motion to approve the proposed conditional rezoning request and adopt the attached ordinance. Is there any discussion on the motion?
And it's presumed it includes the conditions.
Yeah, including the condition. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just say quickly that I do want to just publicly, not only for this applicant, but for others too, I really appreciate the mention of wildlife and sort of incorporation of this wildlife viewing deck and things like the trails. We've got some, we don't think of Wendell as a river town, but between Marks Creek, Buffalo Creek, and Little River, we have 3 major water corridors parallel through what is now sort of the larger footprint of Wendell. And it's not right everywhere, but I think finding places where we can preserve some of that habitat, incorporate designs into the natural spaces that make this a neat place, is something that I appreciate y'all doing. I know it's something that has progressed as this project has progressed, and I just appreciate that and hope that it can find its way into more and more things that we see in the future.
Any other discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor, Commissioner Deloach,
Commissioner Loach, aye.
Commissioner Tornasky,
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman,
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz, and Commissioner Joyner.
Aye.
Right now, our last public hearing tonight is a public hearing for a contiguous annexation for 2 parcels totaling approximately 36.671 acres. About 34 of those for pin number 1773966469, and 1.899 acres for pin number 1773967798, located at 0 Wendell Falls Parkway and 0 Jake May Drive.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This public hearing is for contiguous annexation for the 2 parcels that were just in your previous public hearing on the rezoning. In this case, the rezoning was for everything but the 3 acres on the corner. The annexation is for all of the acreage. That's why you'll see it's more acres than the rezoning. Zach Anderson of Ellis Developments, on behalf of the Roberts and Collins families, submitted the annexation request. It does include right-of-way, contiguous annexations. We do annex right-of-way as well, and so the acreage includes that. Properties located in our ETJ currently, you can see it outlined here in red. It is a contiguous annexation as it touches the golf course property and the neighboring subdivision. It does require services from the town's police, public works, parks and rec departments if annexed and developed, secondary service for other departments like planning. The property is already served by the local fire district. Water and sewer is readily available at Wendell Falls Parkway. I can answer any questions you have on the annexation.
All right, so open the public hearing. Any questions from the board? All right, any questions from the applicant? I assume not.
No, they have no questions.
Comments from the citizens? Nothing else from the board. All right, we'll close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the contiguous annexation request for 0 Wendell Falls and 0 Jake May Drive.
All right. And adopt the attached ordinance. We have a motion to adopt the annexation petition and adopt the attached ordinance. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornaski?
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
All right. Moving to our administrative items. Item 6A is an appointment of a partial term in-town planning board vacancy. We'll hear from our town clerk.
Good evening. Okay. Due to the recent resignation of former in-town planning board member Deans Eatman, the town board of commissioners will need to appoint a new in-town planning board member with a partial term ending June 30th, 2024 in order to fill that vacancy. The town board of commissioners was sent all in-town planning board applications that were received since June 2021 after an additional 30-day recruitment period. 7 applications were received by the deadline, 6 of which were from previously received applicants, and we did receive 1 new application. So the Citizen Advisory Board recruitment process is a voting process done by written ballot. Applicants must receive an affirmative vote from a majority of board members present and voting to be appointed. Appointees will start their new positions immediately following tonight's meeting once sworn in. Applicants received letters informing them of the appointment process and were encouraged to introduce themselves at the beginning of tonight's meeting if they chose. And I will follow up with applicants after tonight's vote. So I've passed out ballots to each of you, and Commissioner Tarnaski was emailed one this morning. So if you all could print your name and make your choices, and I will collect those. Commissioner Tarnaski, if you could send me your ballot or hold it up to the camera, whichever works best for you.
You have to vote without me. My printer's not working today. Thanks.
He can give a voice vote.
You could give a voiced vote, Mr. Tarnaski, if you wish.
Let's do that. He can give you the paper later, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Just so is Phil voting via voice or?
I think for it, unless there's, depending on how the votes go, it might be necessary for him to vote tonight by voice. I mean, later might change something you do tonight if it's a close decision. Be better for him to vote tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was at. Well, I didn't see an option outside of voting now, So I was just asking, I didn't hear it.
To clarify, if there's currently a majority without the voice vote, is there a need, he's still welcome to, I assume,
But it wouldn't change anything.
Well, he's here. It just,
is there a majority?
There is a majority, so it wouldn't make a difference. As of right now, we have 3 votes for Adam Kendall King and 1 vote for Brenda B. Williams. So that would mean that, Adam King has the majority vote. Correct, Mr. Attorney?
That'd be my interpretation. We can also get a voice vote on the record.
Do you think that's better? I
well,
don't know, what would you
we've done a
recommend?
voice vote on everything else tonight. It seems just as easy.
Yeah, just get a vote.
Okay, so do we need someone to make a motion then?
No, I was talking about from Mr. Tornasky.
Mr. Tornasky, can you give us, indicate your vote, please?
Philip?
Okay.
Mr. Philip, that was on the vote. I'm trying to look it up here and look at the same time.
Philip Beasley?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So I will reach out to Mr. King and let him know that he was appointed at tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Item 6B is a request by the Wendell Chamber of Commerce to host the Wendell Chamber Banquet at the Community Center. Mr. Pulaski.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. On November 24th, the Wendell Chamber of Commerce submitted a request to use the Wendell Community Center for their annual chamber banquet. The banquet will be recognizing local business achievements for previous year and also use it as a networking event for local businesses. They would be setting up at 2 p.m. with the event lasting from 5:30 until 9 p.m. and the event cleanup would conclude around 10 p.m. This event is not open to the public and they're expecting around 150 people to attend. The plan is to have alcohol for this event, which would require 1 police officer with that attendance number and 2 part-time staff. Excuse me. What they are asking for is for $759 to be waived for the fees for using the community center, which includes the setup and breakdown time and the amount due for the event minus the non-waived fees, which are $795. So they would be waiving the same amount that they're going to have to pay for the event. And I did ask the chamber to show up tonight in case you guys had any questions or they could talk about their comment, but I don't think they showed up.
Okay.
And also attached is the application that they submitted to the Parks and Recreation Department. If you look on the back, you can see a better breakdown of the non-waived fees versus the waived facility fees. What is not allowed and what is waived. The Recreation Department, during the December 7th meeting, voted unanimously in favor of waiving these fees.
Right. Any questions from the board for Mr. Pulaski?
So just waiving $795, not waiving $795?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's just the way it happened to work out this time. It's usually not that
Just
50-50. This is just the way that their numbers broke down for their time and the part-time staff and stuff.
I do just want to make sure that I understand that. I'm looking at I think that breakdown, Jeff, that you're talking about.
Yes.
And I see a line that says amount waived with the amount 1,805 listed beside it.
Yeah, their total would have been $1,805 for the total if they would have had the event. And the amount waived is the things that you can't waive are the part-time staff, the police department, and then they don't use any public works department, the cleaning fee, and the dumpster fee. Those fees are not allowed to waive, which came to $795, which is taken off of their total, which was $1,805.
I hear you, and I just, that makes sense if that's what the answer is. This breakdown says that the total due for the event is $2,600. The amount waived is $1,805, and the amount due is $795.
The $795 comes off If you look at the total amount due for staff cleaning is $795. Total amount due for facility fees is $1,805. And so then we take the $795, which is what they would have to owe for the staff and the cleaning, and take it away from, so you take out the $1,805, leaving $795 is what they would owe.
So staffing and cleaning is a component of the facility fees?
Yes.
Mayor, I move we grant the fee waiver request for the Wendell Chamber of Commerce to host the banquet at the Wendell Community Center.
Okay, we have a motion to grant the fee waiver request. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornaski?
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
And Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6C is a review and recommendation for numbers 2 and 4th North Main Street for a mural, Simply Blush Bridal. Mr. Coates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Give me one moment. I just want to share the screen here.
Sure.
The request is for a proposed mural at 2 and 4 North Main Street in downtown Wendell. At the January 3rd, 2022 meeting, the Appearance Commission reviewed the proposed mural and unanimously recommended approval. The proposed mural would be located, as I said, at 2 and 4 North Main Street at the intersection of 3rd. The mural consists of some flowers and vines, and I'll show you an image here in 1 second. The applicant's proposing to have roughly 50 square feet along the Main Street frontage, 30 square feet along 3rd Street. The applicant is proposing a metal structure vine be added to the exterior of the building that would extend up to 6 inches from the plane of the wall. The town of Wendell will require an encroachment agreement for any extension into the Main Street right-of-way, and we would get confirmation from NCDOT on any extension into the 3rd Street right-of-way as well. UDO requires no mural shall be added to the primary facade of the building. However, the town board has the right to approve a primary facade mural if it does not exceed 50 square feet in size. Murals are not intended to be placed on residential structure or their accessory. In this case, they're commercial buildings. The mural shall not extend more than 6 inches from the plane of the wall, which it is tiled or painted, or to which it's affixed. If the name of the business is within the town's jurisdiction is included, it'll be counted as a sign and must meet the regulations for signage. They're not proposing their name in any of the square footage for the mural. The proposed mural must be recommended by Appearance Commission, and final decision is by you, the Board of Commissioners, prior to any paint being added to the building to review for appropriateness. A certificate of appropriateness will be issued by the administrator if approved by the Board of Commissioners. The applicant has provided these images. You can see here this image on the left is 2 and 4 North Main Street, the frontage. They're proposing roughly 50 square feet of mural. You can see the flowers and vines. And then the image on the right is actually of 3rd Street. You can see some of the vines extend over there at that corner, and then there's some back here by the exit door. Item summary, the buildings 2 and 4 North Main Street are located in the town of Wendell's National Register Historic District, which was designated in 1998. Listing in that National Register is primarily an honorary designation. Both state and federal tax credits may be available for building renovations. We just like to point that out to applicants as they do work in that downtown core. And I can field any questions that you have on the mural proposal.
Any questions from the board?
And the applicant is here, the designer is here in the back as well.
Okay. Any
Brian,
questions
just
from
so I'm clear, the metal structure, is that's just kind of going along, is the paintings on the building, the metal structure is kind of out in front of it?
Yeah, they're proposing up to 6 inches. They haven't fully determined that, but they're asking to go up to 6, which is the UDO requirement. If they do extend into that right-of-way, we are going to ask for an encroachment agreement and also make sure that the vine is not prohibiting any pedestrian flow on the sidewalks or anything like that as well.
No, it looks, if somebody went through this process and renovation and everything, it looks good, and I'm always happy to see somebody come and add a little bit of spice life and color to their buildings, so.
I do have a question. Can we get an update, and maybe this is for the applicant? I think in the past, we've done this for folks that, you know, the business is there, the remodel is done, and this is kind of an after, the fact. I'm just trying to determine if the timing is right to do this now. You know, when is the building gonna be done? When are you moving in? That kind of thing, so.
Yeah, if you want to come up.
Sorry if you didn't want to come and speak. I apologize.
I'm not the owner, so
Okay.
can't speak for them. Good evening. My name is Betsy. I'm representing Simply Blush as their designer. We are located in Zebulon. Our business is called Design Dimension. So I actually am going to get an update tomorrow on the actual building schedule, but they have not moved in, so there will be a bunch of changes that should happen really over the next 6 months. Could be happening faster than that, but we have come up with the design and the paint scheme for the outside of the building, so we wanted to present this, obviously, before we get started on any, I guess you could say, not physical changes on the outside of the building, but visual changes. So we'll be submitting a sign permit next.
And disclaimer for me, I'm certainly for art and murals, et cetera, so please don't take that the wrong way.
No, we are certainly trying to make sure we are planning ahead of time.
Okay.
To answer
So
your
that's really
question.
the purpose is to do it well in advance.
Correct.
Okay.
The business is not in there yet.
Just from a planning department standpoint, they have been granted a demolition permit for the interior of 2 North Main. 4 North Main still has a bakery that will be moving further up Main Street, and once that bakery moves out, they anticipate interior renovations at 4 North Main as well. But the bakery is still there currently, getting ready to move to their renovated spot up the block.
Okay.
So.
And I'm just going off past experience where we have, hey, this is the artist, this is the concept, this is what we're doing. And so we're okay, the town is okay with the process this far in advance of the actual remodel and building opening, business opening.
Yeah, we have no regulations on when the mural can be proposed. It can be proposed at any time. The UDO section you see is very limited on that. I know the Appearance Commission did have some questions about exterior paint and how the mural would either, how it blends in or what it looks like next to it, because that beigey color you see in that image is still there but will not be their final color, and then the awnings have been removed already. And so I think the Appearance Commission did have some questions on what color paint was going to be the base before the mural is painted and things like that. And I believe it was like a neutral tone. I'm not sure that's been finalized yet.
And I'm okay. I want to make sure that.
Don't you think what they're doing maybe is getting started on it, and they're doing some placemaking and kind of claiming their spot? That I think the owner of the business owns the building, and maybe it's just easy for them to check this off of a very long list of things that they need to do. And so, you know, well done for not waiting till the last minute. So, all right. Any other questions from the board?
A quick one.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I didn't catch you while you were still up here, but just the metal, the bent metal structure, do you know, or can you talk about how that's affixed to the building? And it can be brief. I'm not like an architect or need any real in-depth
That's okay.
anything.
We're in the process of making structural drawings.
Okay.
But basically, it will be a welded rod that would be attached to a plate in multiple locations. So if you were able to zoom in, you could kind of see where that would just be attached to the brick facade through a strong adhesive that we use regularly. So, and most of that, you know, we will be providing a structural drawing to the team that we're working with to get approval for that too, so. But we would be designing, fabricating, and installing it all.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And one last one, Mayor, if that's okay.
Yeah.
This one's for Brian, though, so
Okay.
thank you. And if this isn't the time to explain this to me, you can just say, Dean, you need to learn about this another day, and I'll accept that. I'm vaguely aware that sometimes we support mural requests like this with funding. Is that the case in this particular scenario?
No, we're not
Okay.
supplying any funding for this mural. It's all private investment.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
Madam Mayor, I move approval on the mural request at 2 and 4 North Main Street.
All right, we have a motion to approve the mural requested at 2 and 4 Main Street. Is there any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Deloach?
Aye.
Commissioner Tarnasky?
Aye.
Commissioner Eatman?
Aye.
Commissioner Lutz?
Aye.
And Commissioner Joyner?
Aye.
All right, thank y'all. All right, we'll move into our other business update from town board committees by town board members. First is the Campo. I attended Campo on December 8th of this past year. It was a quick meeting. We typically actually don't meet in December unless there's really a need and it's brief. So there's not as much to report. Essentially, it was an update on the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan from Chris Lucasina and the Campo staff. We reviewed the updated draft and considered the approval of the projects and programs pending air quality conformity. That included, and it passed and it was approved, and it included the staff report, the public engagement summary and MTP December 2021 draft, the MTP maps and project list handout, and the 2050 MTP schedule, and also the Highway US 401 corridor study. We also received briefly, and as informational items, some operating budget information, member shares information, and basic updates from the executive director on Campo staff location. They're looking for a new spot to meet and things like that. Next, the Wendell Volunteer Fire Department, Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Wendell Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors met last week, and have begun the budget process for the year, which starts earlier and earlier every year. And in relation to that budget process, are also preparing at some point to go through another ISO inspection, which is important to you folks playing at home, because that's what sets our insurance rating, which is what determines your insurance rates. The last time they went through this process, they were able to get us a substantial savings, and our department has certainly grown since then, but exciting times for the fire department. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and stay with you on our commissioners' comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to let everyone know the Wendell Rotary Club is having an oyster roast, and you all should come. It is going to be a great event, help support literacy efforts in the local community. My cell phone number is plastered literally all over the internet. If you'd like to come to the oyster roast, feel free to shoot me a text message or give me a phone call. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Lutz?
No comments tonight, Mayor.
Commissioner Eatman?
Yeah, just quickly, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for the proclamation at the beginning of the meeting that we talked about and that you read over for Martin Luther King Jr. week next week, and specifically re-highlight your call that I think is really prescient for people in Wendell and everywhere to rededicate themselves to the principle of justice and equality for all. I think that's something we should all keep in mind all the time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't recall discussing that, but I guess maybe we did. Commissioner, who am I to now? Tarnasky?
No comment tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to, first of all, thank town staff. We had organizational retreat this past weekend. We were able to accomplish a lot of things. We, good time of fellowship and organization, and so I appreciate them taking time out, spending a Saturday with us here. I do also want to acknowledge some local East Carolina University Pirates. received a message today. Division of Student Affairs announced their 40 Under 40 Leadership Awards, which recognizes outstanding leaders. They've used their ECU experience to make an impact in their respective professions and local communities. So I do want to say that, you know, these are folks from all over the nation, obviously 40 of them, and I am pleased to see on the list that we have 2 people from Wendell that were acknowledged as 2 of the 40 Under 40. So I wanted to say and big congratulations to Miss Townley Cheek and Miss Lolita Smith Moore. So fellow Pirates, obviously doing great things, you know, whether it's business, research, leadership. They're standing out and they are being recognized. So I look forward to reaching out to them personally and meeting them. So go Pirates, and congratulations to those 2 folks. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Real quickly, I wanted to remind everyone that Mayor's Award nominations are due by January 21st, so you've still got time to submit those. We're still anxious to hear from you about all the people that you feel like do great things around Wendell in a quiet manner. There's a lot of them, so please get those submissions in. The award is given at the annual chamber banquet, and this year that's going to be held on February 3rd at the community center, which was discussed tonight. Reminder that the Wendell Historical Society is looking for past issues of the Gold Leaf Farmer. They're particularly interested in issues before 1970. If you have some, you can drop them off at Aubrey's downtown, or there's several contact numbers that they've given me, so you can just email me and I can give you those. It's too much to read here and you're not going to be able to write it down that quick. Same thing with this. If your business suffered a loss during the pandemic, you might be eligible for a business recovery grant. Those can be awarded up to $500,000 through the North Carolina Department of Revenue. It's a one-time payment to eligible North Carolina businesses that experience significant economic loss due to COVID-19. The application period closes January 31st, so you've got plenty of time to get an application in. Again, if you're interested in that, you can email me and I can give you the contact information and email you the link, because it's just too much to read right here. One other thing that I feel like I need to talk about tonight was my last Campo update. I've worked really hard, very hard at Campo for 6 years, and to get Wendell to a point where we could take advantage of Campo funding for projects for the town. We now have staff in place and the funding required in addition to plans necessary to further our goals. It's important that you have those 2 things. You've got to have the people in place and you've got to have the money to make it happen. It's been very time consuming, but we're there, and I've been very excited with this board to play a role in that. I've also enjoyed serving with other mayors and board heads discussing highway development, connectivity for this region, and our region's relationship with adjoining areas like Durham and Orange counties in that direction and Johnston County in that direction, because that level of connectivity is very important. You can't just build big roads and they can't just stub out. They've got to have somewhere to go. So those relationships are very important. The difficult reality in Wendell is that we have not been in a financial position to apply for Campo funding until recently. Campo is a partner, and they partner with municipalities. They are not a complete funding resource, and municipalities are required to contribute matching funds, and up until now, we have not had the money to meet our share of that obligation, so we have not been able to take advantage of Campo. There's been a lot of hard work on many levels, and it's paid off, and we have our first Campo project in a very long time right now, and it's a great one. It was planned by staff at the instruction and direction of the board based on priorities set by the town board and budgeted by the town board and submitted to Campo by town staff. That's how Campo works. Our project involves several components and is underway right now. I've gotten a lot of questions, so people are aware that some of the engineering and things have been happening. It includes improvements to the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Wendell Boulevard right in front of Wendell Elementary School and the surrounding area. Some of the highlights of that are signalization of the intersection there, which is fantastic, with the traffic light. There will be turn lanes, sidewalk improvements, extensions of sidewalks to places where there are none but are badly, desperately needed, and the closure of where Wall Street connects to Wendell Falls Parkway, we're going to create a cul-de-sac, and the purpose of that is to increase safety by cutting down on congestion in the area and move traffic flow to an area where it flows onto Wendell Falls Parkway in an alternative route. So it's going to make it a whole lot safer in that area. At the same time, we're going to be doing utility infrastructure improvements in the area. The purpose of that is to be efficient and reduce the number of times residents in the area have the disruption right out their front doors or right down their streets of things going on. This is an effort to do a lot of things when you're mobilized in an area, and that's real smart. I think that's important. All of this is very exciting. Wendell is positioned to continue doing projects with Campo. Our board sees the value in that. We will routinely now budget for our portion. We have the necessary staff in place to make it happen in the board's instructions and priorities. And we're actually even going to be taking part of Campo 101 as a group, because I believe soon, I guess, as soon as we can get scheduled, it's important for our board to continue thinking in Campo mindset moving forward. And I think that because we couldn't afford it, it just hasn't been on our radar, and we need to think about that. And it's something we've been discussing for quite some time. Campo is an important part of our plans. I think citizens will soon see the advantage of the work that's been done to get us to where we are now, and I'm excited about that. I am disappointed, but sadly not surprised, that our board decided to no longer allow me to serve in the role as the executive board member for the town of Wendell to Campo. In reality, because of the process required by Campo, you're really not going to see as a citizen a change in how things go. Decisions by this board, by this group for projects all over, by the Campo board for projects all over the multi-county region, they do impact Wendell residents because they deal with traffic, and traffic affects all of us every day, and we're all over this area, not just in Wendell every day. They're not right in our backyard. The things here in our backyard that we work on with Campo will stay the same, and those will follow the same board process as always and the Campo process that they set out. The one difference now is that Wendell will be the only municipality where the position is not held by the mayor, and I think that's sad. It's bad form. I tried to explain that, but I guess some don't understand or care about things like that, and they have other goals in mind. I've always wanted Wendell to be a leader and not a follower, and to stand out from the crowd, but not stand out because of politics and petty considerations. Unfortunately, that's where we are now, and the goal of taking something away from me, I believe, was worth more than decorum and maintaining the habit and tradition of Campo service. So, I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. I'm excited for 2022. I look forward to all the great things that are happening this year. It's going to be a great year in Wendell. And don't forget to contact me if you're interested in any of those other things I mentioned earlier. And we are adjourned.